For an update on the floods and high tides, let's speak to Craig Lambinon, Sea Rescue Spokesperson. Craig, appreciate your time this afternoon. We've seen several images of cars being washed on the beaches of some parts of the Cape. Speak to us about the situation.
Yeah, so at the moment we're monitoring to see if there are going to be any storm surges this afternoon with the spring high tide, which has started to build already since about midday. It's in some places already peaking, and between now and about 4:30 p.m. it'll peak around the coastline, depending on where you live. But at this stage it is looking okay. We obviously appreciate immensely the widespread message that has been broadcast by the media like yourselves in alerting the public of the dangers that they could face on shore. Yesterday's incident, it's not that it caught anyone by surprise, but it's just it was a higher surge than I think anybody could have imagined, and really by means of a confluence of circumstances that came together that with the storm that was around the coastline and the South African Weather Service had alerted about, together with rough sea conditions, gale force winds, and then the new moon spring tide, it just all came together in one moment. And I think at this stage we also, our thoughts are with all those people that were affected. Their cars were waterlogged, properties were damaged, a lot of the infrastructure around the coastline, including some restaurants that were damaged by the surge, the storm surge. This morning we heard from some people in Kwabaga where they were walking their dogs on the beach. It was low tide, thinking that it would be safe, and yet during the low tide, a set of waves came in and washed right up to higher than what it normally washes up, even at high tide. So these are things we're monitoring. We keep everybody's on alert, everybody's on duty. NSRI around the country, we're doing some mop-up operations at our own rescue stations that were affected, and assisting wherever necessary. The emergency services on high alert, disaster risk management, the police guard units, and we're ready to come and help, but we are appealing to the public, don't put yourself in any unnecessary danger. Don't deliberately go and put yourself in any unnecessary danger.
Now, Craig, you speak to it being seasonal. You suggest that it's the spring high tide. So you did expect it to come in, but it was obviously a lot higher than anticipated. Now, the Weather Service, were they not aware of this? Were they caught flat-footed?
No, the Weather Service were absolutely awesome during this whole thing. All of the alerts were put out, and they really kept on top of it. Alerts were going out regularly at the various level alerts that they put out, and we are continuing to encourage the public to follow the South African Weather Service alerts so that you don't get yourself caught unawares.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad to hear that there have been no injuries up to this point. But the fact that a number of vehicles have been washed out to sea or flooded seems to suggest that there were certain people that either didn't pick up the message or were not aware of this impending high tide.
I think that's where we mentioned earlier. The confluence of circumstances came together that really just contributed to that extra edge that the sea and nature can sometimes bring forward and show us in our faces that it is, at the end of the day, weather, and you can expect it to sometimes be bigger than normal or lower than normal, higher than normal or less than normal. And it's just a case of like I say, don't put yourself in any unnecessary danger. Don't deliberately go and put yourself in any unnecessary danger.
Now, do we expect it to recede over the next few days, or is it something that's likely to be with us for the balance of the week?
The spring tide will last into the next few days, probably until about Tuesday or Wednesday, and then you'll start to see the spring tide go back to normal tide. But at the same time, we are still experiencing winter sea conditions, despite the weather getting better with spring here now. And there are sometimes storms deep sea that affect our coastline. Bear in mind, South Africa is the peninsula to Africa. So we just always encourage people, have a safety conscious mindset and be cautious. And the summer coming now, obviously go to beaches where lifeguards are on duty, wear your life jacket if you're out on a boat. Anglers fishing along the shoreline, know when the two high tides are and two low tides are each day, so you don't get caught unawares. And everybody just have a safety conscious mindset, especially in and around water, and not only coastal water, but inland water as well.
Now, Craig, you mentioned that there are a number of government establishments that are on high alert, obviously including yourself, such as Sea Rescue. What does a high alert mean for you?
So, well, for us it doesn't really mean anything because we're on alert, including the emergency services, police. We're on alert 24 hours a day, every day of the year, and we're always on high alert. But understandably, it does give some comfort when you hear us say, because we are aware of something that might be coming, we are on high alert. And if that can be comforting, that's great, but we're ready to come and assist, whatever, whenever.
Craig, absolutely delighted to know that you're on high alert 24/7, and thank you for the amazing work that you were doing. Craig Lambinon, Sea Rescue Spokesperson, speaking to us about that high tide in the Western Cape.